Hi there, it's Lori, and today is How Did I Break My Finger? That's our injury story. So, sometime between age 30 and 35, I'm not sure exactly where in there, but sometime in that time frame, I was at church, and remember my husband at that time, so my ex-husband, he was a youth pastor, so we were at church and hanging out with the teenagers, and I decided that, I could play football too. So football is in American football. I'll specify, because the rest of the world calls football soccer, what we call soccer. So American football. They weren't playing, but they were just throwing the ball around. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can catch it. Well, I caught it, but this finger right here, this is my non-dominant hand. Thankfully, my left hand is my non-dominant hand. It went like this into that finger. Okay. I thought I jammed it. I was like pulling it, trying to get it to be better. So this happens on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening actually. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. I just jammed it. Next morning I wake up. Okay. I'm a teacher at the time. I go to school. It's like, so I'm trying to keep it elevated because it's swollen and purple, like from here to here. It's just like, it was huge. It was so swollen and purple. It was rough times. Anyway, so I'm sitting there keeping it elevated as much as I can. And my students are like, Miss Mac. What? Why is there a square on that? It's whatever. Sorry, something weird on my screen. Miss Mac, your finger's broken. I'm like, oh no, it's just jammed. It doesn't hurt. I'm like, no. Miss Mac, your finger is broken. They're like, because it's purple and super swollen. Your finger is broken. They were right. So I go to the doctor. So there's even more humor to the story. First of all, my teenage students had to inform me that I should go to the doctor. Second, okay, so where the break was, they take the x-ray. And my doctor looked at it and didn't even, before the x-ray, yeah, that's broken. Yeah, they knew. My teenagers knew. Because you know why? Because they'd had broken bones. Up until this point in my life, this was the first time I had a break that wasn't, just a toe break that, I know, I say that, just a toe break, but, like, they're not great, but, like, you just can splint them and you're fine. Anyway, again, thankfully it was my non-dominant, because that's my index finger, or pointer finger. And I would have had a rough time writing if it had been this one. I still feel it. I feel exactly where that break is. So I go in, she x-rays it, even though she's like, yeah, that's broken. There was a fracture right below my knuckle there. Kind of yeah, right there. See, I can still feel it. Yep, it's right there. Right there. In that bone. And when she sent me to, she said it was bad enough I needed to go to a finger specialist down at the hospital. Because I went to my regular doc. She sends me to the hospital, the finger specialist, or whatever what are those specialists called? Orthopedists? Is that right? I don't know. Anyway, sent me to that doctor, looks at it, looks at the x-ray, puts a splint on it, so it's like this, because apparently it needed to, like that way it would heal up straight and not freeze this knuckle or something like that. I don't know. Because it was in a really bad spot. She said, I'm not positive you're not going to need surgery. But we're going to splint it for 4 weeks and then we'll follow up. So it was like this for 4 weeks in a splint. Have any of you ever had a splint on for 4 weeks? Do you know what happens to your muscles when you have a splint on for 4 weeks? It doesn't like to move. So I could barely move it. Like this knuckle was. Anyway, I could barely move it. So then she x-rays it again at the 4-week point, and she said, okay, we don't need surgery. It healed properly. I'm like, yeah, but I can hardly move it. I kid you not. This was my physical therapy. And I still can't quite get it down all the way. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, I'll just, so you can compare. See how I can get that all the way down? That one doesn't like to go all the way down. Literal physical therapy. She said, and if you can't get it to move, put it under warm water while you do that. I mean, all of it's just humorous. This whole time, this didn't, This did not hurt as bad as even the concussion I told you about the other day. That didn't hurt. Falling out of the ceiling, that kind of hurt. Falling off the deck, I think that's the first one I told you all about. That one hurt. Got a big old fat lip, and I was 5. That was my first. No, I didn't tell you all that story. I guess we're going to do injuries week 2. All right. I didn't tell you. Because literally I sit here and I'm like, remember I said first concussion? Yeah, I've had 3.
That's what she said.
Yep. And there you go. So anyway, sorry, I do actually have to respond to that. I will take 2 seconds, reply, and okay. This is my younger stepdaughter and my older. It's so awesome. My older stepdaughter has her driver's license, and she's allowed to drive siblings. Colorado has a rule. You have to have your driver's license, I think, 6 months before you are allowed to drive anyone, any other teenagers, unless they're a sibling. So she can go pick up her sister because I have a migraine today. So cool. I'm medicated, and so that's why I'm okay right now. I mean, am I ever really okay? I don't know. Anyway, you've heard all the injuries. Oh, by the way, I have had an MRI. When I got the concussion, the first concussion, I had an MRI. Everything was fine. No permanent damage. I've had MRIs for my migraine. Nothing biological going on. Just neurological. Good times. Lucky me. Anyway, so, yes. Physical therapy. But like I said, that's as far as I can get it. But you can see the difference. See that angle difference? That's as far as I can get that. So I had to actually learn to hold the yarn differently after that injury. But it did come back most of the way. It's mostly good. So, all right, that's the injury. This is Shout Out Saturday. I'm going to start with someone who, for whatever reason, sometimes I forget to watch her, but I truly adore her and relate to her. She has chronic illnesses. She used to work for the post office like armchair chef Lori until medical issues. I believe that's what she said. Anyway, Zelda in RJ. Zelda is her actual name. It's not the the video game character. Anyway, Zelda in RJ is, I don't know. She has a special place in my heart. I just love her. And she is going through it. So she's not posting regular content, like consistent content, but anytime she posts, I try to go in and watch. I try to keep up on her. If you don't subscribe to her yet, please go in, subscribe, and watch some of her stuff. I know she could use that encouragement. Very recently, she got to meet the Yarn Geek, and I know a lot of you watch the Yarn Geek, and why can't I think of her first name? Anyway, I'll throw that side shout out in there. The Yarn Geek. Now, that's somebody who has more yarn than any person that I've ever seen. I thought Armchair Chef had a lot. No. Nope. The Yarn Geek does. Russ has a lot of yarn. It's raining yarn. I think Yarn Geek gives him a run for his money. I am not sure which one has more. Anyway, but Zelda, truly, I love her. She's so real, and her tutorials are excellent. She has interesting tutorials. She tries to do stuff that's different than anyone else. They're not super frequent, but she has a special place in my heart. That's the only way I can say it. And I always feel bad when I oh gosh, I missed her last 3 videos or something. Usually October, presuming she's feeling a little better, that she'll do her vlog. Vlogtober. She'll try to do a daily thing. I don't know if she's doing that this year, but she gets really cool Halloween advents. So go watch some old stuff and then look at her tutorials, because there's only a handful, but they're always fun and usually very unique, something I haven't seen elsewhere. So that's Zelda. Special place in my heart. I'm going in order of when I started watching them. This is another one I'm really inconsistent about actually watching her, and I really feel badly that I don't consistently watch her because I like her. She's very sweet, and she just kind of oozes kindness, I guess is how I would describe her. This is Nessa, infinitely. Hold on, I had it pulled up for a reason, because where are you? Infinitely Zero Nessa. So she does all kinds of things. I really, like I said, I just need to be better. And oops, I had it open to share for a reason. She does have a Ravelry and a Ko-fi and all that. So does her coffee. Which one is it? I don't know. I gotta go to camera. Okay. So I know where to look. All right. So Infinitely Zero Nessa she's very kind. She's very generous. Very sweet. I really enjoy her work. She's really thorough at describing, like in her reviews, like when she gets say a mystery box of yarn or something. She's very good at describing how that yarn feels, what it would work well for, and that kind of thing. She also does fun lives periodically. I don't know if she's... Let's go look. Let's see when her last live was. Because I know she was doing pretty consistently. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, so mostly her content at this point is more like me. I do the once a week lives, but it looks like it's been a while. Yeah, she does a couple times a week. She posts, and it's mostly videos, and they're never like crazy long. But she has a lot of fun. She has right now she's doing a Mary Maxim, well, 2 weeks ago, a Mary Maxim quarterly Afghan kit. So from what I understand, is that was a year-long subscription, and then each quarter they send you the next part of the video, which that's kind of cool. So check that out with Nessa. But sweet as can be, very just lovely, just a lovely person. Next, Night Owl, N-A-I-T, okay, not night like nighttime, N-A-I-T, Owl, Night Owl, one word, linked below. Nairo is her name. She does pretty much only lives. I met her over on Camille's Creations. Again, side shout out. I'll make sure to link her. I always link her, but I saw her over on Camille's, and I believe she has young children, and so that's why for her just doing a live and randomly when she can. She was trying to be more consistent, I feel like, but she's usually on a time of day. I rarely actually catch her live. But anyway, Night Owl Nairo is very sweet lady. And like I said, she has been very busy this summer, and I mean, she'll tell you, she's every once in a while I'll catch her over on the next person I'm going to shout out lives, but she's fun to watch. She does tutorials live. That was one of the first lives of hers I caught. What was she making? I think she was making some kind of flower bag. Anyway, she has all kinds, but it's mostly, like, especially now, she said she's pretty much only doing lives. She doesn't necessarily have the time, and usually it's in the morning in the US, I should say that. So those of you on the other side of the world or across the Atlantic, probably evening for you, or the middle of the next day, whatever. So all right, so that's Night Owl, and like I said, I see her every once in a while on Yarn Over Hooks. This is my newest addition to somebody I watch. Yarn Over Hook is a collaboration, but most of the content is Sammy, Sammi, and they have and I say they because I want to say it's Riri. Riri is the other main person, and then they have a website where you can go join. It's kind of like imagine if you could only, if a Facebook kind of place was only about crochet. That's all it was. People only talked about crochet. That's it. That's what yarnoverhook.com is. So anyway, during one of her lives a couple weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I catch her lives, I probably catch half or less than half of her lives. It's just time of day and day of the week. It's just whether it works or not. But anyway, Sammy, like I said, is the main content, like the one that's on the camera during the lives the most. They have videos too, and tutorials and all that stuff. Well, she was talking about how her crochet journey began. Her mother taught her to make kitchen scrubbies with the tulle, Tulle. Anyway, and then I said in the chat, I said, that's crazy. My grandma taught me, but then when I really started crocheting again, literally all I crocheted was those kitchen scrubbies. And then Sammy reacted to that and said, oh my gosh, do you have the pattern? And I'm like, no, but I remember it. I now do them on the knitting loom, but she wanted the crochet pattern. So I went ahead and made a tutorial. I wrote out the pattern, not in the formal way. I don't think it would count as a real, like, pattern. But Anyway, kitchen scrubby, and then I tagged her in that, and then I put it over on yarnoverhook.com as well. And she said thank you, because she was so thrilled to have that pattern, because she said she had lost the pattern that she was using, and she was just amazed. Somebody else in the chat, that's like how they really started. I did that for, let's figure this out, just about 10 years, give or take. All I made crochet-wise was kitchen scrubbies with tulle. You cut the strips of the tulle. Now I use the stitch, stitch, soak, and scrub yarn from Yarn Inspirations, I think, or Lion Brand. Oh, I think it's Lion Brand. Anyway, so I thought I had some tulle. I looked everywhere. About a week after I did the tutorial, I found the tulle. So I had to do it with the stitch, soak, scrub, but that's fine. It's just I'm almost out of that, and my family needs a new one every year. Like, what do they do with them? I know people, they last forever. And no, my family needs a new one at Christmas every year. That's all they want from me. They just need a little kitchen scrubby. So anyway, Yarn Over Hook, thank you for inspiring me to do that pattern. And I did it from memory. Again, I learned it, I didn't mention this, from an ex-boyfriend's mom. So crocheted with my grandma up until I was a teen. Don't remember much. I'm dating this guy. His mom is making these kitchen scrubbies with tulle for her church's like fundraiser fair, or what do you call those? Like markets? No. Why can't I think of the word? You know what I'm talking about, though. Anyway, so her church would have this fundraiser, and she would make as many as she possibly could in the year, and then she would sell them. So I learned, and then my family became addicted, apparently. But that's all I did with my crochet for, was I 39 or 40? Anyway, somewhere in there, up until 2021. So about 10 years. That's all I did. So here's my shout outs. Zelda NRJ, in my heart always. Infinitely Zero Nessa, sweet as can be. Night Owl, NAITOLW, which is Nairo. Fun to watch live tutorials. And Sammy and Riri and everybody over at Yarn Over Hook. Everybody will be linked below. My side dimensions, my side pieces, no, just kidding, are Yarn Geek and Camille's Creations. So I hope you enjoyed these shout outs. I know a lot of you have enjoyed them so far. I was actually going to open this package, just realized it was the wrong way, but this video is already really long, so I'm not going to do that to you. All right, thanks for coming in, and can I get an amen?